Oh, he said, she said, they said, we said, we said with Wanda be. Oh, she's the real for real. With Wanda be. All inclusion, no confusion. But he said, she said, clearing up the drama. Wanda. Ladies and gentlemen. Initialize sequence. You're tuned in to IntellectualRadio.com.
Hey, it's me, Wanda B, and you are tuned in to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. It is Sunday, it's fun day, and we are here to help men and women communicate better. Whole goal of He Said, She Said. So, what I love for you to do today is subscribe to Intellectual Radio on YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe. You can listen in on Spreaker. My Facebook friends that are listening and YouTube, you can do it as well. Chime in. We like to have like the Facebook viewers become our other co-hosts. And as I speak of co-hosts here, I am here with none other than the life coach exclusively for He Said, She Said, and probably all his other patients. But we like to think of him as just being our own. The very fantastic, fantabulous, every he everything. James Borshade. Hey,
How everybody doing? How's everybody doing?
so topic is picky or preference, because what really is the difference? Some people think, oh, is the person being picky, or are they is the person being picky, or is it okay to have preferences? What is the difference? Is there a difference? I really don't know, because sometimes I think they can't say that. Isn't that their right, like, to say they don't like that? Or so that's kind of what we're going to discuss today, and have dear James maybe set me straight, because the way I think, I know sometimes it's kind of
I don't know
so
about setting Wanda straight. Wanda have it. Wanda have it.
so we're gonna see. You may say no. So or you guys chime in, tell me what you think. Is certain things picky or being a preference? So me and my laptop today, I can't remember my password. Now I don't know. Do you all have these brain farts? But whenever I decide that we are live here at intellectualradio.com and the show is going on, it takes me a half the show to log in to my laptop. So that's coming. So it give me a moment. What was it? It's not my kid's birthday. No, do you all know? Help me out. You all can put your comments there if you want to help me find my password.
If we know what we think the password is.
Right. What's my password? And hopefully we can get to it before the show is over. But this show is actually brought to you by Allstate. Whether you need auto, home, or life insurance, I'd love for you to give Sal a call. He can help you out, lower your rates, and definitely get that life insurance. The number is 708-599-5100. Sal's number is 708-599-5100. So back to my password as we talk. And picky or preference. So there was a post. Oh, and so I want to read the post to you. Would you happen to be able to get to it by any chance?
Let me pull
I'm
it
going to
up.
keep.
Which one?
It was the man, and he was asking a question, or it was about turn ons or turn offs.
So we asked it in two different forms. We asked the ladies, what do men do that they think is a turn on, that we think is a turn on, men, what that we think is a turn on to them, but in actuality, it's a huge turn off. And then we posed the question to women as well.
Say it again from the other perspective.
We asked the women, what do men do that we think is a turn off, or that we think is a turn on that is actually a turn off? And then we asked men, what do women do that women think is a big turn on, but in actuality, it's a turn off to us?
So I would like to hear if you guys could chime in and start putting in the comments for our Facebook listeners, iHeart listeners. You're hearing this, so just you can mentally put your thoughts into this
John
when
Russo.
This comes up for you. But yeah, what are some turn ons, turn offs? Hey, John. John is a big supporter of our show. I appreciate you all the time. My former co-worker at the Sun Times, Daily Southtown.
What's up, John? John said picky is to preference as arrogance is to confidence.
Oh, you getting deep on us, John.
John kicking it off already.
He's kicking it off, and I think that. So is what he's saying is it's a fine line kind of between what's picky, what's preference, or is there a distinct difference? Because sometimes I do people who are arrogant do say I'm just confident.
I think picky is in the eyes of the beholder, and arrogance is in the eyes of the beholder too.
Picky is in the eyes of the beholder,
And
and
so is
arrogance.
arrogance. And I'll tell you why. I have been called arrogant before, you know, and then I realized what some people think is overconfidence or arrogance. If I walk into a different room with the same amount of confidence, they think it's underconfidence. They don't think I'm thinking big enough or confident enough. So, for example, if I say I want to buy a mall, some circles they think, you know, who you think you are? Why you want to buy a mall? And then I go into a different circle and they think, why just a mall? Why not the whole? Why not the whole block?
So I guess
I think the audience is the determining factor, and it becomes picky if it. To some people, it becomes picky if you don't meet it.
yeah, my these pregnant pauses I take is because I'm thinking. I usually have to think, let me, and I'm reciting it again in my head. So of course, again, share this broadcast for me and join in that conversation. Picky
Oh,
your preference. So I like to give some of the. I'm going to get to them. Some of the things that people were saying
can I
as
pause for a
their.
second?
Can you pause?
Kelly Renee, what's up, girl? Hey, stranger danger. I gotta tell my kids watch out for stranger danger. What's up, Kelly?
You had to tell your kids.
She said hers is preference.
To me, sometimes some of the things people say, oh, you're just being picky. I think, what is wrong with that person saying? So, this actually came up in a conversation last night. A girl was at an event I was at, and she said, a guy said what the types of things she would not go out with. She gave a
Mm-hmm.
list of types of guys she wouldn't go out with, and she said that she has these standards, and the guy could not do certain things or have certain things, and he had to make a certain amount of money.
Oh, can you give an example? He couldn't
She
do certain
said
things.
her 50,000 was not enough for her because she makes more, and the guy was like, well, I don't make 50,000, but I like you.
See,
And
I was just picky. It's only picky to the person who doesn't meet the standard.
okay. So the guy that
Because a guy that make $150,000, he don't think that's picky.
and I think I took a minute to listen to what she was saying, because of course the men around her were like, I'm nice. What if I could treat you good? And what if she was like, I don't care. I don't
You
care.
don't
She
make
was
enough to
like,
treat me good.
I wouldn't even know because I would never go. He was like, well, what if I could take you to, they kept saying Fogo my child.
Foco day child.
They were calling it Fogo my child. I didn't want to correct them in their conversation. I was sitting there laughing. They probably thought I was laughing at their
Sorry.
conversation, but they kept
I'm
saying Fogo
sorry.
my child. Fogo my child.
If
I
y'all
could take
listening,
you
I'm
to
sorry.
Fogo my child. I could take you to Fogo my
I could take
child.
you folks with my child.
I can take you folks with my child. I can take you to Fogo my child. That don't mean that I don't.
See,
Maybe I saved up my money, so that doesn't mean. And she was like, no. She was like, I. It's, she was like, it would only take
oh,
a few conversations with you to realize that you don't. You're not.
you can't even pronounce
You
Foco
can't
the child. You can't take me to
Fogo my child, right?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Just that you can't even pronounce it lets me know you don't frequent this place, I guess. And I'm gonna keep calling it that because it makes me
Foco my
laugh.
child. Yeah, that's his new name. Y'all have been rebranded. Foco my child.
And so he was so he said he gave the story of his parents, that his mother was he I'm using his exact words, ghetto fabulous. She had she grew up with money, but then she actually fell in love with somebody that was homeless, and her parents were, and he's saying that their love worked.
That's her story though.
And
That's his
this was
mama's
the guy,
story.
right, this was his story, and he's trying to tell her that she should give him a chance. And then he had this whole date and dance he was doing, trying to get her some shimmy he was doing. He was really working it to try to make her see different. She was like, no. She was like, you're a nice guy. I think you're funny and everything and a nice guy, but I will not, because I have certain standards for myself. And then she even said that if he offered her less, that was showing her that he didn't not respect. He didn't find her worthy or It was showing her the worth. He didn't think she was worth a certain amount. And so I just sat there listening because I thought it was a very interesting conversation.
I think she's taking it too far, but okay.
So what's picky and preference?
Again, I think it really depends on the audience, because if I don't meet your standard, then I'm gonna call you picky. But if I meet your standard, it's just a preference.
What if I can't? You can still call them picky if you think. I don't have to meet it to think it's picky. Being picky, though, right?
So there is, like, I'll give you an example. There are certain families, and I know many of them, that you can't even date anybody within their family if you don't bring certain criteria to the table. You just can't.
Hasn't that been the way for centuries? Even with the arranged marriages, it's being
Yes.
arranged because you bring something to our family. Your family has X amount, and we're trying to merge these two
Bingo.
families.
See, people have forgotten. I'm so glad you said it. People have forgotten what dating and marriage really was about. It was the merging of two kingdoms. Back in the day, in the Bible day, and even in ancient times, without even talking about the Bible, they used to have, you were merging households. They didn't say Borshades. You took a man's last name because you were in the house of James, or the house of David, or the house of Solomon, the house of Saul. It was the whole household that you were merging into. And so there were certain things that you had to bring to the table to be even considered to join the household, or for someone to consider joining your house, because you were responsible for what you put forth. Nowadays, we just dating to get laid. And did I say that out loud? I told them I should have warned you. I'm a little ornery today. Don't let the suit fool you. We're dating for a different reason. We're dating to fulfill a gap. We're dating to be loved instead of being loved. And so, yeah, I think for me, it's always preference. I struggle to call somebody picky.
I think I somehow agree. I kept telling the guy, she's not for you. I don't understand why you guys keep going back
Actually,
and forth.
she might be for you, but you ain't for her.
But she's not thinking like him either, though.
You ain't for her.
Vice versa. I was saying
Yeah.
it to both of them. They both were sitting there that,
She don't
why
want
do
you.
you keep, well, he was the one who kept, she was saying, no, you're not for me. And he's the one who was so like trying to convince her. And I was like, you know what? There's other women who think like you. So why not? Why'd you keep trying to convince her differently? And there's someone who doesn't mind being with someone with your mentality, and she was very adamant that it wasn't her.
So here's what he's actually saying. If you really break down their conversation, he's not saying I want her. He's saying I want somebody that looks like her. Because the her, who she is, he doesn't actually want. He hasn't gotten with her, and he's already trying to tell her to change who she is. Who she is someone who's saying 50,000 is not enough for me. That's who she is. And you're already saying that's not what I want. I want somebody that looks like you, but I want you to want me at 50K or less. So this is that classic case of dating somebody that is the creation of them that you have in your head, not the actual person.
Dating the creation. So do we sometimes create people, and
yes,
we're sticking with that creation?
He's sticking with the person he has created.
So it was an interesting conversation because it just kept going back and forth. Because people were asking her, what if he was a really nice guy and had everything else she would want in a man? Why was she putting so much credence on the amount of money?
Because that's who she is. That's just what, right, wrong, or indifferent. That is who she is. And what you are already discovering is the who that she is at her rawest essence core, you don't want.
And that's okay though, right?
It is okay.
I'm really asking.
No,
is that okay? Because a lot of people would then tell her, you're being picky. That could be your blessing. I hear people say that all the time. You're blocking your blessing. That she should think differently if she wants a certain kind of man. So what would you say to that?
But picky is who she is, quote unquote picky. So if that is who she is at her raw essence, at her core, let her be who she is and decide whether or not that's who you want. We get into relationships, y'all not even in a relationship and you trying to change who she is. That is ridiculous. And what I'm trying to get people to see is what you're discovering is that's not who you actually want. You don't want someone who thinks the way she does. You really just want someone who looks the way she does. Because other than her looks, what did he know about her?
To keep the conversation going, it would they really had just, I think they met before, I won't say that, but I don't know if he even.
Let's call a spade a spade. You like how she look. You don't like how she think because you telling her to change how she think.
Right. I think that's where my why I was wondering why he was so adamant to keep the conversation, because it doesn't sound like you actually want her anyway. But how do you realize that? Or is it the quest, or is the look? No matter what, you want to keep trying for the look.
The look. It's the look.
Me and my laptop are having hard times. I really want to read that post from the one that you sent.
Let me
the
find
post that was, if you can get to your messenger, that's where you find it.
Okay, let me find
the quickest. You're tuned in to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. And I so appreciate everybody who tunes in every week to our show, because it's no us without you guys. So, James, read what the question, the initial question was.
So the original question says, ladies, name something that a man does that he thinks is a turn on, but is really a turn off. And man, we got a lot of comments on this one. Wow.
Name something that
a man does that he thinks is a turn on, but is really a turn off.
I'm going to write that in the comments. Name something that a man thinks is a turn on. And I think people put bragging about a man bragging about how much he makes. Yes. What are some of the comments on that one? You got to read them out loud. You can't just laugh.
Some of these I don't know that I can read. But,
well, get the clean one.
I'm trying. That's what I'm looking. That's what I'm looking for. I'm on T Bizzle's comments right now.
Oh, then I already know. My T Bizzle with the giggle in the midst. She is actually performing this evening at a fashion show. I'll have to get that information while we're here live. But she's a comedian, so you can only guess what her responses are. So it's name something that a man thinks is a turn on, but really is a turn off. And then I'd also like to change that question around, and it was posed to men as well. But it's interesting, not as many men responded as women to this.
They did not as many of them responded, but we got as many responses. They went ham too.
Oh, did they? I didn't really go back to it. So
Nikita says baggy suits.
Men think are turn on.
Yeah, but
seeing that, to me, that would be a preference, because someone else may not even mind that necessarily.
They out of style. Baggy suits.
Okay.
I got. Nikita, I got to go to the tailor. Is that what you're trying to say? Here's a men.
Are these from today, or are these from the past?
These are from the past. These are. Robin Russell said, pouting their lips in pictures. Men?
Just say the first names, because if I didn't tell them I was going to say it on the air, I'm not going.
I said no duck lips. Licking. We're not gonna go there.
You can say that.
Licking the inside of my ear.
Oh no, that's preference. What do men think that's a turn on? Do men lick? I don't know.
Yeah, they do. They think that's a turn on.
Licking inside the ear.
Somebody, April said, yeah. Then you got breath residue in my ear.
That's funny. See, and that's what some things it seemed like they were really getting upset about it. But I was like, that seems like a very personal preference. I don't know how I feel about it. I've never had anybody lick in my ear before, but that seems like.
So I think she's calling all ear lickers. No, I'm just. Here's another one: telling anything about an ex or trying to drag their child's mother.
Oh my God. I don't think men think that's a turn on.
Yeah,
either,
they do.
Though. Do they?
They think that they're showing you how I'm the one who was saying I didn't get left because I was a problem. I got left because, we broke up because she was a problem.
So in the conversation, making it seem like I am divorced, but she did this.
And all it tells anybody is you didn't learn anything. And so you about to repeat the same mistakes with me.
Okay, okay. Uh, and then one that people
Somebody
licking
said talk.
lips, the men talk. Did a woman say that? A woman, or a guy would
A
say that
woman
too.
said talk.
The another thing I read a lot of responses were licking lips. That a lot of men think that. I think
Yeah.
what is his name? LL Cool J. He the one that started
That ain't
that,
sexy to
and
y'all. The licking of the lips. That ain't.
it's not to me. I don't
Unless you
know.
look like
Maybe,
LL.
and it wasn't even sexy for me with LL. I'm like, stop that. So for uh, but
Okay.
there must be people, and why I say things are preferences versus there has to be a woman because people loved ladies loved Cool James. Oh, you should go by LL Cool J.
Don't go
I
there.
didn't even think of
Don't
that.
go there. Don't
Why
go
is
there.
this just hitting me? James B.
Don't go there.
JB, you got James Brown. You got a lot of like legendary. I'm calling you LL Cool J from now on.
You see what y'all done started intellectual radio.
LL Cool J.
You see what
I'm loving it. I'm cracking myself up.
so, someone said unrequested pictures of private parts. That's not a turn on to y'all. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, some people think
Well,
it is. Somebody said
to some.
somebody said flashing money, brag about materials, possessions.
That's that. So picky preference, turn on, turn off. Uh, but some people were really getting upset. I mean, it really was that someone would say something and then the thread just would keep going with people going back and forth. With people really feel like it's wrong to say this stuff out loud. Is that
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's what you like. It's so these are what you're saying is what the woman is saying in that situation is this is a preference to me. The men doing it to me think it is sexy and it is comment in the group on the live video. Is there a universal thing that a man might do that we think is a turn on, but is a turn off?
I think it's almost is it not impossible? But is one universal thing, ladies? I need you to chime in because
Ladies, chime in on that. Is there something
and
universal?
guys too. Let's ask the question both ways. Say it in the form for the guys to respond. Is there
Is
something?
a universal thing that women do that they think is a turn on, but to almost all of us, it is a turn off?
Because men say weave, but there are men that actually like women with weave. There are.
I have not met one.
I have. I was gonna say our super producer Earl Winfrey has no. In fact, he will say some women look better with it.
Yeah, that is true.
Now,
said
for
if
the
we
people
see him
who
without
didn't
the
say-
weave,
yes,
then you might actually like the weave. Yeah, touche. You are absolutely right. I stand corrected.
Are there other men that like weave? I would like, or I do think that even some you'll notice some men say that they don't like wigs, fake hair, but that catches their eye on a woman. If you don't like it, why does she turn your head if she has all the things you say you don't like, but you're turning your head when she walks by?
Because she might have a nice body.
So I guess I haven't seen. Let me not.
Might have a nice body, and that just make you look, and then you look up and be like, "Oh, never mind."
I've never seen a man not talk to a woman with a nice body because she has weave.
That's true.
That doesn't stop them.
That doesn't.
So then we think you like it then. If it's not
just
stopping
you, we'll change you. Well, you'll take it off in a little bit, and then when like the super producer said, then when you take it off, we're like, oh, you know what? Put that back on. Put that back on.
Y'all wrong.
Put that back on. We are bad.
You haven't said that, have you? Really? See, y'all don't mind weaves then.
No, I didn't say we don't mind them.
That's not the universal one then.
No, that's not the universal.
Let's work on the universal one then. What's the universal?
I'll say what I can't stand, and maybe
and see,
and maybe men chime in. Those kissy lips in pictures, that gets on my last nerves.
The pouty,
the duck lip. Oh, I can't stand that. I can't.
But those pictures get tons of likes.
Do they? Are those
Yeah.
from guys?
Women are not well, I don't like women's pictures with ducky lips. I personally, I just keep scrolling. Cuz I don't think they're even doing it for me to like.
Mm.
I don't think I'm their intended viewer is to see how many women like their picture. I don't
I
unless they like one.
I think Valencia might have one that's universal for women. Let me see if this is because this one got probably the most likes on it. Bragging about basic stuff that any grown person should be doing.
I got my own house.
Somebody said
I
Robert
got my own car.
Robert said, "Man, you can't even walk like me."
What does that mean?
But that's his base. That's the basic stuff we talking about. I got a job.
Oh, you can't even walk like me.
Yeah,
I
you know
get
what I'm
it now.
saying?
And so is that a universal for both? Uh, for men and women, bragging about something that's basic
I don't know that y'all do that more like we do. Like
that
we say that as an introduction. Hey, baby, I got my own house, my own car. We'd be like, okay.
but or I have a question. Did that start because there are women that are uh did women get that? Because if you go, oh, he got his own house, he got his own car, that there are women that are actually impressed by you saying that because the other half live with their mother. Does the age matter?
I don't know. I don't know
Because
that the
to the
age matters.
19-year-old, if you got your own house and your own car, I mean, hey, he got his own
At
house.
19, yeah, yeah.
So, but to the 32-year-old, they're like, okay, you're all of very grown, and I'm not
Right.
impressed that you have your own car or your own house. So, and that was another thing that when I was talking to these people last night, they were all 20 in their 20s. And
Mm.
so, as I'm listening to them and kind of taking in their conversation, and I was going to chime in, and I thought, you know what? I'm listening to the conversation of 20-year-olds from the ages of 23
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
28. And can you just talk them into changing their opinion on things? Not and so I was
Life
like,
will
let
do
me
that.
just listen and ask questions because I found it how curious and all it really got wrapped up because she was very adamant. Now I'm going to repeat her words. These are not mine. She said, black women don't do struggle love."
Oh,
And
mm. I know a couple people in the group that feel that way. I ain't even gonna go there
so
because I would let loose on that.
is that a preference or is that when she was saying the 50,000 when she was discussing the amounts that what is struggle love and she felt like at her age she was like at my age I shouldn't have to deal with struggle love. I love your
I'm very
silence.
rarely speechless.
Preference?
I don't know that she's ready
Picky?
for love. It's a preference
What would make her not be ready for love?
because by literal definition, love is struggle. She might be talking about I don't do material struggles, but the very definition of love is long suffering. That is the first characteristic of love. Everything else before you get to that is infatuation, is attraction, is romance. But when romance fails, infatuation fails, attraction fails, what you have left is the spirit of love. And from that point, you have to make your decisions based on whether or not you operate in the spirit of love or not. This is why people jump from relationship to relationship to relationship because they don't understand nor have the spirit of love. What they like is the spirit of new, and new is in infatuation. Infatuation is called, it means short lived passion. And so what people are looking for is passion. But they once passion fades, they move on to the next thing that they're passionate about. Which is why when people come to me for business advice and they say they told me to follow my passion, I said slap the person in the face who told you that.
Everybody says follow your passion.
Anybody tell you that, just slap them straight in the face. Tell
Why?
them
They
from
got to
me.
know why they slapping them.
Because if you following your passion is nothing but following an infatuation or lust. What you're supposed to do is follow your calling or your gifting. And a lot of times your gifting and your calling is born out of your misery or your trials or your despair, not your triumph.
But to follow your passion, can't it be if you enjoy baking and you know you enjoy that, then and you're passionate about that, then becoming a baker and
Were you
opening
put
your
on
own
this
bakery.
earth to become a baker? Is the question.
So I don't think people know the answer to that. Following your passion seems to be an easier thing to pinpoint than following your what did you say?
It's your calling, your
How
gifting.
do you know what you're called to do?
That's where you got to tune in to the one who created you to understand why you were created to be what you were created to be. Because if I follow my passion, I would still be chasing the NBA right now.
Your passions have to be realistic.
What you trying to say? They ain't real.
I'm sure
You
you're
see what I'm
fabulous.
saying? What you trying?
You're doing it. I'm
That's because
trying
I
to,
ain't 6'5".
but
Well, I'm not naturally
again.
6'5". Mentally, I'm 6'5" though.
Me too. I don't want to be 6'5". I don't even want to be taller. I like my height. But anyway, back to this. I'm confused. What I'm confused about is the concept that you shouldn't follow your passion.
You shouldn't, because
Why?
your passion can lead you down a road to destruction if it's not what you were called to do. There's so many things we're passionate about doing. I'm passionate about dogs. I love dogs. I ain't called to be no dog sitter.
What if you weren't called to be a veterinarian? How do you know the difference of what is called and what is passion?
Because what you're called to do, the gifts to do it are inside of you already. And so what we have been conditioned to do in this country is follow what we've been trained to do. And most of us have been trained to support someone else's calling. That's the whole education system is designed to train you to support somebody else's gift or calling. So the first thing we need to be teaching people to do is understand why they were put on this earth. I'm going to give you an example. Wanda, I believe you were put on this earth to do exactly what you're doing, helping people heal in relationships. Now, was that what you were passionate about years ago? Or was it born out of something?
It was born out of something, but sometimes I think I don't know if I've ever been passionate about too much. My passion switched like like the rain.
That's why you can't follow your passion, because following your passion is following your feelings, and feelings change. Callings do not.
But how do you know what you're called to do?
That takes time and experience. It takes time. The first thing one must discover is what gifts are put inside of me. So, for example, the acorn seed is called to become an acorn tree, but the acorn tree is inside the seed.
Oh,
Everything.
So deep. Have I eat breakfast? Everything you're saying, I gotta take a couple seconds to understand. Say, not that it's not understandable, but to really let it sink in and get it. I'm like, ooh, say that again.
Everything the Creator created you to become, He put inside of you already. And so what my job as a coach has always been is to help people discover what's on the inside and then walk them through the steps to bring that forth.
Everybody needs that. Everybody absolutely needs, because I don't even know, and even as a parent, I would love for my children to follow their calling, but I don't know if I know they don't. I wouldn't say I know what they know, but it seems like that's one of them at least is having and I wouldn't even know how to tell her myself to. How do you tap into what is your calling?
So here's one way, and I write this in my book, The Mission Driven Mindset, which is coming out in early January. One of the way your ministry is born out of your misery.
Your ministry is born out of your misery. What can you find this out at a young age though? Because of how many youngsters have misery.
It depends on what you're going through. So again, when we were created, Genesis says we were created in the image of and the likeness of God. The biggest one of the most important things we need to understand about God is He is a creator. So you were born to create something. In other words, whatever it is you're born to create must be missing.
Whatever you were born to create must be missing. Oh, I'm still thinking on this. I know my laptop is having. She's temperamental today, and she doesn't want to go to Facebook. Can you read the comments? I see half.
It's a whole lot of
them. I got to give a shout out to Sabrina. It's one of in my stepping world. She is one of my faves. My what do I call the people I just love to watch. I didn't bring my glasses either. I have. One second. I'm like, I'm prepared for this.
Let me
This is
read
he
these.
said, she said on IntellectualRadio.com. And I know I do the show 2 o'clock on Sundays, but somehow I've forgotten to bring everything I do the show with. So
Brina
we're
said,
here.
material things is not everything. She also said, say that. And she said she found her passion when she went through a divorce. Your misery is the maternity ward for your ministry. This is where
And
it's
mine
born.
is the same. Mine is through my divorce that I so the misery is part of the journey.
It's part of the journey. So here, there, now you about to preach this message. It's part of the journey. So when God orchestrates, or some might say the universe, but when God orchestrates you to go through a broken season, what's really happening is the shell of the seed is being cracked open so that he can show you what's on the inside of you. So that what's on the inside of you can come out. A lot of us don't even know what's on the inside of us until we've gone through a broken season or broken place. This is three of us in a row, but my divorce called me into understanding what I was created to do. It reminded me, it put it in my face, and it forced me to face it. It forced me to face it. Forced me to. So so now my desperation helped me discover my destiny. And so you have to make decisions based on your destiny and not your desperation. You have to make decisions based on your calling and not your crisis.
Make a decision on your calling versus your crisis. But in the midst of I'm still thinking, you guys. I'm thinking.
When you start to understand, based upon what you're going through, the mission you were put here to accomplish or to complete, you have to start making every decision you make must be based on your mission and not your mayhem. So for example, your mate should be based on your mission and not your mayhem. So your mayhem might be loneliness. You don't decide to get with somebody based on your loneliness who does not coincide or correlate with your mission, because what you're creating is another problem. You're jumping out of the frying pan straight into the fire.
And a lot of people do that in the dating.
Most of us do. Most of
That
us do. We get with people based on our mayhem or based on our situation, not based on our calling.
But do you recognize your calling sometimes? Because I wouldn't say I plan to do what I do. It wasn't any type of plan. It just was things that. So does your calling manifest without you putting work towards it? Do you naturally go towards the calling?
So here's how callings work. At a young age, you get the calling. Most of us get the calling and we don't believe it. We put it to the side. We say that's not possible. That I'm thinking or an adult tells you create your plan B. And my plan B is to make sure my plan A works. Then it's confirmed. And then a lot of us then start going through life headed in a different direction from our calling. Whatever you're called to do, the way the universe works is everything will reroute you to your calling until you answer it or die.
Oh, so you're always drawn to the calling, but you may take a different path when
it's going to reroute you.
A fork in the road. You choose the other path, but at some point, it's going to keep trying
it's
to
going to reroute you back. Yes,
reroute you back.
So the law of attraction that we teach in today's time is actually wrong. We teach if you do this, you do that, you will attract it. The truth of the matter is, if you get in tune, it is always attracting you.
It's always going to be pulling you.
It's always pulling you. When God created the earth, he created it with an electromagnetic field. And then he created us to be electromagnetic as well. So you have one electromagnetic field pulling another one towards it. So what you are created to do, called to do, is literally pulling you. You might go through something in this arena. It might destroy you here, but it's designed to reroute you to what you were designed to do. The moment you tune in to what you were designed to do, a lot of the destruction stops and a new set of problems arise. But those set of problems are on the road to routing you to what you were created to do. What you were created to do will always call you. Always.
What you were created to do will always call you. So, but the misery will keep coming till you get there?
Until you decide to listen.
So why then weren't you? I'm still not understanding why you weren't a basketball player.
Because I wasn't created to do that. But that was my passion. I'm talking. I don't know if any of my homies are watching. They will tell you I spent 8, 9, 10 hours in the gym hooping, talking trash. Was good at it, but it wasn't what I was called to do. Everything kept rerouting me to speaking and music. Everything I did, I tried to leave music. I tried to leave speaking and go do something else. And I kid you not, the job I took rerouted me to speaking in front of Congress.
You think you can be called to do multiple things?
Yes.
So interesting. As we're talking picky preferences, turn ons, turn offs. Uh, I don't even know if that's on the same vein of what we're talking about now, but it led us. And we always here. I have to tell you guys this. We may start off on one path in a conversation, but we go organically to where it leads
To
us.
to where we're drawn.
We're drawn. I must say that we go to where we're attracted and where it was where it's pulling us to take the conversation. So
I want to give
we
a shout
follow
out. A
that
couple
path.
people joined us. Anna joined in. Don Stock joined. Friend Nadia joined in. Kanisha joined in as well. Brina said she found her passion when she went through a divorce. She says the loss of her son
Oh,
made
that's
her
huge.
realize that she had to listen to God and find her voice, and He speaks through me. Yes. Yes.
And that was
Yes.
yet another misery drawing her to her calling. So even after the divorce, he
Yes.
still probably wasn't finding what the calling is.
Right.
And then yet another misery that draws her
So
to that
pain,
calling.
we talked about this a little bit last week. Pain is an indicator that something's amiss. It is the thing is either wrong or something is either very right.
Pain can be right.
Pain can be very right. Oh,
I
yeah.
need that explanation of how pain can be an indicator of right.
When you were giving birth to your child, it was painful. But what it was telling you is what you're bringing forth is right. It's time.
Okay. That visual really helped. That explains it all.
It's time. So people use pain and they start running from it. What would have happened if you ran from trying to push?
But you're birthing, you're something new.
You can't run from that the birthing process. You can't. Some pain is completely and utterly unavoidable because it is designed to bring forth new life.
I love it. I love it. And I love people like Brina who have experienced things and can have positivity
And not
come
afraid
out
to
of
share it. Yeah.
and not afraid to share it,
Yeah,
because that's a huge thing, and that's a
So
message
first
in
of all,
itself.
sorry for your loss. My goodness.
But to turn that or use what has been given to her to help others, because that will
Absolutely.
help someone else.
Absolutely. So the again your misery, I tell you, is the maternity ward for your ministry. Start to go through something difficult. Pause and look around, because the learning opportunity in what you're going through is designed to help you help the next person who is going to experience what you have experienced. And here's the problem, if we don't learn the lesson the first time the misery takes place, you will literally be rerouted to the next version of that same type of pain, until you pause and say, you know what? I'm listening now. I'm tuning in. What is this? Not just what is this teaching me? What am I supposed to do as a result of this?
That's a good question to always ask yourself in any situation you're dealing with in life. Is say that again.
What am I supposed to do
What am I supposed to do?
as a result of this? Because there's no such thing as coincidence. Everything has happened. It's supposed to work towards your good to those who are called according to the purpose. So the question is, what is the mission I am created to accomplish? What is the vision that you have given me to do? Because He will always provide for His vision. Always.
I love it. So we're talking picky or preference, turn ons or turn offs. And you asked one universal question that my laptop is finally coming to life. The anybody respond to that
Mark
question.
Quinn said duck lips are terrible.
So is that the universal thing men don't like?
I don't. Super producer, do you like duck lips in
He
pictures?
don't care.
No, he said
No,
no.
you don't like
No,
duck
he's
lips.
shaking his head. No.
I think that's only because it was a headshot. I think if you put duck lips on nice bodies, y'all like anything.
No. Don't get it twisted. We like the nice body, but the duck lips we can paint over.
So one
I
universal
can't
thing
stand
all
duck
men
lip.
don't like is the duck lip pictures.
So far we 3 for 3. Is that, gentlemen, chime in? Is it? Do you all like the duck lips? Is that cute? And where did it come from? And why do you all do it?
I don't know. I don't do it, so I can't really answer that. But I'm sure. Let me think of why, if as a woman, why someone must. It must accentuate your cheekbones. I don't know. It must be doing something though that makes a woman feel that it makes her look better, or it's just in. Is it just in to do the duck lips? It's in. I don't know. I don't do only because I don't even know how to do it. But
I can't stand it. It drives me. It's like scratching a chalkboard. I can't stand that. It's like scratching nails on a chalkboard. I can't stand it.
It must just be in like a new outfit, or a new style.
It drives me nuts. Alyssa said, "Good to see your face, Wanda."
Hey, all my sometimes friends are coming out. Hi, Alyssa. Tell me one thing, Alyssa, that's universal that men think is a turn on, but it's really a turn off to women. Men think it's a turn on, but it's really a turn off. So we said brag. Well, one thing is
just bragging about stuff you're supposed to naturally do.
That could be universal.
I breathe every morning. You'd be like,
nobody's bragging on breathing.
So here's something that I think. Here's something that I think you all have. You all might be unanimous on this, and a lot of us didn't know that the random pictures of body parts, random unrequested pictures.
That's preference versus.
So that might be a turn on to some.
Yes, I think.
Really? Just random.
Need me at my end dot on here because
random, just like hello, how you doing? Boop.
Oh no, she won't like that. But I don't know. I think we've had that conversation before. But I don't
unrequested.
Unrequested is the biggest part. No, nobody wants unrequested. But they may be requesting them.
Now, guys, that ain't no turn off for us.
Unrequested body parts being. I haven't heard a man turn that down.
I don't know that any man would say, you know what? Don't ever do that again. I'm talking about from the pastor down to the.
Really?
Man,
no, a pastor's gonna turn that away.
Is he?
The married pastor? Yes, he is.
The married pastor
in my head
would say,
not the Wilsons.
Satan, I rebuke you.
Not the Reverend Wilsons of the world.
Look. The married pastor like, Satan, I rebuke you. Save.
Save. Share to his friend, man. Look at these.
I'm just joking, y'all. To my pastor friends, I'm kidding.
No, you're not. I'm not kidding. They're not doing that for real. Now he's kidding. So
just ask Pastor
what's
Wilson.
the universal turn off for women? So what is something else that I could think we all kind of don't like?
Alyssa said yes, she
agrees. The random unsolicited is the operative word. Pics are.
I be wondering, do that work on some people? Because why it has to work if so many people.
That's what I was trying to get across earlier when you say like even bragging about your house or what we feel is bragging about regular things you should have. What created that must be that someone was okay. Someone was impressed by it.
Is it a turn on or is it a check? Like, okay, I don't want no guy who still live with his mama. So when you start telling him I got my own house, we're like, okay, cool. All right, check. Or is that, ooh, he got his own house. I'm in love. Is that a turn on?
And maybe we don't know the difference when we're doing. We think.
My buddy Pastor Mitchell Johnson.
You pastor's coming out at
Pastor Reverend Dr. Mitchell Johnson. How's it going, buddy? I'm not gonna rephrase the question.
Don't rephrase. Don't pull him into this. What did I get myself into?
Not the good doctor. No sir. No. So is it a turn? So okay. What are universal turn-offs that men do that we think are turn-ons? And same for men. What are universal turn-offs that women do? We said the duck lips. That's one.
That became
You
we're
know
only
what?
using the men we have right in our reach right now to make it seem universal. Whatever
Hey,
guys, if we get five to agree, it's now universal.
here's something that was said in the group that a lot of men agreed to. Taking pictures with your back to the camera.
Just to show their booty.
But that is not a turn on for us.
Yes, it is.
No, no, it's not. Taking pictures with your
Lies.
no, it's not. A lot of the go back to the group guys are like that is not a turn on.
So this is why I disagree. If you look, if your bodies, I see men sharing pictures, and I could name names. Men sharing pictures of women with booty shots
Yeah, we're making fun of
from
them.
the back. They're not making fun.
That ain't saying okay.
They saying,
That's
look
not
at her.
saying right. Now let's be clear. Every man's gonna look at that
That's a turn
and
on.
say, look at it. That's not a turn on.
Then what's the difference of
We
a turn
put you
on
in
and
a
turn off?
different category when you do that. There's a category of a woman I would love, the woman I could see myself marrying. There's another category, and forgive me, Pastor. There's another category of a woman I could see myself. I start to say it in the secular term, but I'll say sleeping with. And then there's another category of a woman that I'll never see myself with, no matter what. Three categories that men have for women. And ask any man, they may not word it the way I word it, but those are the three categories. A woman I can never get with. I don't care what she does. A woman I can see myself being with and marrying and representing me, and a woman I can see myself sleeping with. The woman who sends you the picture of the butt facing the camera first, okay, you the woman I can see myself sleeping with you.
But turn on and turn off doesn't
But that
mean
doesn't
mean is not a indicator of category we put you in. It's just more generic.
not for you all. For us, it is. For us, turning us on, meaning turning a man on is like, okay, I could see myself with you. You get what I'm saying?
Okay. So Alyssa says I was seeing someone for a few years ago, and he never asked for any type of provocative pics. When I asked him why, she like, wait, don't you want a picture?
Right.
And he told me he had too much respect for me. I love that.
Right. Because
So
he can
if they-
see herself. He can see her in a different category.
So men think of women in the categories from the get go.
From the get go, from the time you walk past, you immediately begin to be classified. And okay, she could be a person I could see myself with. Now let me hear her open her mouth and start talking.
So the man that just sends unprovoked, unrequested rather pictures,
You already in category 3.
he never had you in the I want to marry you
He never
category.
had
It
you
was
in that
something he
category.
would never even think of doing.
Marrying you is
someone.
not. That's not the category for you.
He respects you too much for that. Okay. So Brina says she doesn't know. She's been single for 6 years and she feels like she's a good woman, which I feel she is too. I really don't know what men want or look for in a woman. Oh, answer that question. That's a very good question, Brina. From the dear life coach of He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. Tell us, what do men look for in a woman? What is his pick preference? Turn on.
So the first thing is, does she look like somebody I can be seen with? And whether we like to admit that or not, that's true. Does she look like somebody I can be seen with?
But everybody has a preference of what that
looks like. That's that's different for all men. You got to remember, men are visual. So first, does she look like somebody I can be seen with? Number 2, can she represent me, my interests? Is she intelligent? Is she classy? And for there are different preferences to classiness, but this is what is she classy? Is she someone I could take home to meet my family, friends? If the answer is no to any one of those questions,
to the friends, to the family,
does she look like, can she represent me? Does she look like somebody I want to be seen? If the answer is no to any one of those questions, then we have an option. And our brain does this automatically. We don't tell it to do this. It automatically does it. If the answer is no, we put her in either I will never get with her, or I could see myself sleeping with her though.
And I think everybody, my thought is everybody moves into I could see myself sleeping with her category, even if they don't like her.
That's not true.
No, men don't
there's
put you
some
in
women
that
there's no way. There's nothing you could do. He will never sleep with you. Nothing.
What? Name one.
She can be hideous. She can be for some men, she can be extremely ghetto fabulous. Some men there's nothing you could do. You can't change that. And that it is so much of a turn off. I'll give you a prime example.
But some men are ghetto fabulous, so they're
Some men
actually
are.
looking for that.
Some men are.
She could be too
So,
bougie.
but what I'm saying
in
is there are
his-
certain instances where, depending upon the man you're talking to, you could hit you can hit his non-negotiable. There's nothing you could do; it won't change. And for men, there's nothing you can do to change their mind. For women, if you persistent and move in a different direction, you can change their mind.
If you have money, maybe they change your mind.
Your mind is changeable. Ours is not.
No.
No.
When she goes into the category, you don't
There's
start to see her
nothing
any other way.
you can do. Nothing.
Interesting. So, top 5 categories women look for in a man. Alyssa says height, education, stability, religion, race, body type. Is that 5? 1, 2. Their smile. That's longer than 5, I think. I'm not counting.
No, that's her 5.
That's 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Smile, body type, religion, race, education, stability, and
height.
And height. And so that's the 5 let me think. I think that probably, I know some women are very big on teeth.
Some people are real big on teeth.
Their turn off or on is definitely teeth, and so that's interesting. Having teeth is important, I think.
So for men, and I have never really thought about this in that order, so I'm just gonna start naming some. For men, and depending upon the man you ask, we'll say this in different terminology. Number 1 is look. Number 2 is aura. Essence, your spirit. Number 3 is going to be body type. Number 4, and this ain't, believe me, I'm not putting this in order. And number 4 is going to be your intelligence or intellect or lack thereof. And then you've got everything else: religion, race, height,
all practicing.
Yes, you got everything else.
So the top one for men, women. Which one was it? Look. So men go with looks first off.
Yeah.
No matter what.
We're visual. We're the visual learners of society. We go with look, and aura, spirit, has a lot to do with look.
Does bad attitude, because that's
all part of look.
That's all part of aura.
That's all
or
part
look?
of your essence. Your essence, and for us, that fits under the category of look. And attitude will make a 10. A woman who is by America's standard a 10 is a 3. Attitude. Real talk.
So someone posted, and we have this group, he said, she said, on Facebook. Please, I don't know, however you're listening, go join the group and join in our discussions. Someone posted today this list of things about women and what men like or don't like, and they even said talking loudly.
Yes.
Men like women that talk loud.
That's probably universal. Loquita Jameson from Martin. Shanae, Shanae's. You remember Shanae had a friend Laquita with the long nails and real loud. We can't stand that.
Really, all men.
We can't stand
why are
that.
men drawn to it then?
Who said that they're not? We're not drawn to you. We may be drawn to your body, but that doesn't mean we're drawn to you.
I see. So I thought that was interesting because a lot of what we talk, I know I talk loud, and so I
ain't really loud.
I've noticed though that there are women that have a more, and they do appear to be more feminine. This is gonna sound bad, but I'm just gonna say it. It kind of almost appears it gives them a more feminine essence with the tiny whisper talking.
Yeah,
kind of seems
loud is loud. Just yeah, no.
We can't help it though. What if they're nice people, but they talk or is loud different? Loud in volume is different than
loud in spirit. Somebody put in the group, no man wants a loud, messy. Oh, here's another one that's universal. Negative. No man wants a loud, messy, negative woman. Men love private. I don't know what he was trying to say after that, but yeah, that's the That's yeah. He said because it says men love private, grow, responsible women. I don't know what
Oh yeah,
I
no,
don't
that
know what
was
that means,
stupid.
but the first part of that, I think loud, messy, and negative. I think men can't stand negativity, and so sometimes we see your what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say complaint. Your feedback as negative. We can't stand negativity.
Now, I would like to know what women can't stand as a whole like that. I don't. Do women don't like negativity? Could that be universal?
I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't know
think we
that
like
I don't
negativity.
know that you do or don't, but I can tell you for certain men can't stand that.
Interesting.
We like cheering. We like cheerleaders.
They like cheerleaders. What does that mean? They like cheerleaders.
It's just what it said. We like women who are going to cheer you on, who are going to support. And I don't mean support you in any other way, but being your cheerleader, being your person who is excited about seeing you succeed. They employ women specifically to do that for men in sporting events.
You mean the cheerleaders?
Yeah, your only job is to stand there and be positive. And men programs with cheer programs outperform the programs that do not.
Interesting. So men like cheerleaders. Women, do we support being supportive? Is that the same? I'm going to ask other women to answer that because I'm trying to think of something that would be universal that we could say that we as women like.
Alyssa said we can't that you all can't stand men who boast about what they have.
Yeah, and that's universal. That was one of ours. The men that brag about having, especially what we said earlier. Alyssa was doing basic things and boasting about them. I have my own car. I have my own house. I go to work every day. I, I
Really? I mean,
I see my children.
right. I take care of my kids.
I take care of my kids.
Who
So that seems common. Alyssa says how much they can lift. Lift. Who cares? All cares about is what you lift
you don't care that I bench press
up to the phone to
280.
communicate. Lift me up in prayer and lift my spirit.
Who is this Alyssa? I like her.
She said, I could care less if you lift 250 in the gym. She said, lift me up in prayer. That's funny.
That is. I like that. I like her. Okay.
So we're trying to think of women. Women. What are? I'm trying to think of some basic things some things that we universally don't like in men, or what we do like too. What are some of the
And
things we
what do
do like?
you all love that we do? What do you love that a man
What do
does
we
that we
love that
don't
men
even
do?
that we don't know that you like?
Oh, I need help with that one.
What is something men do that you love that we don't even know you love it? Because if we did, we do more of it.
I wish people were on here to answer that. I know Kelly, Renee, and Anna may have left, but I wish they could answer that question. What is something that men do that you
Let's
all don't
post it in
know?
the group right now.
I think a lot of it is one of them uh is the kiss on the forehead. I think that's a universal thing that melts women.
Really?
But women, tell me if that's right or not. Or last week on one of our shows, overcoming obstacles, with Jada Tennille James, which is at 4 o'clock today here on Intellectual Radio, she mentions that when her husband taps her on the behind or gives her little taps, when she said that during her show, I thought, that is everything to me. I mean, they probably walk away and they're not even think they did it or did something that moves you or like warms your heart. But she was saying that was almost a level of intimacy for her to have that. So Brina said, I love to see a soft side of a man. I would respect him more. And I agree with that too, Brina, that we love men that are
Really?
comfortable. Not all of them, no, not all women.
What y'all call soft? What you call soft side of a man?
And I have heard men, yeah, you can't cry in front of a woman. So what is soft side? For some women now? Because I've heard a woman say that. I heard a woman say a man was talking and he was telling him a situation that made him cry. And she was like, "Don't tell anybody else that story."
Dang.
And she was like, "I would not repeat that." And so
Jeez.
I do believe that
So he can't be human
I think some women
because men cry.
see softness as weakness, and they don't like to see men weak.
Mm.
As see a man as being weak. They see being soft. So I love to see a soft side. And I agree. I agree with Brina, but the soft side meaning that you express your feelings, that you're not afraid to say what you feel.
Mm.
Sometimes can seem, I guess, soft to some. I don't know. That's I don't.
Okay.
I don't know. I need an explanation. Now, Brina, give us an example because you brought up a really good one of what does that look like to you? What's an example of that? Alyssa said, tell us you're thinking about us, remembering things we tell you. Excuse me, support our dreams, goals. It's all about the little things. Keep your flowers and just be present when we need you.
Ain't that something?
And the being present and being, I think that came up on in Jada's show last week too, is being available and being in the moment with us, I guess. She was
What does that
I would
mean?
take spending time with my man over gifts any day. I can buy my own stuff. So
Okay.
when we talked the other week and you were saying, is that a romance language, like a love language, the spending time over, like learning?
Oh, that's definitely not love. That's a romance language.
So, and I agree with everything Alyssa is saying. I think anyone that talks to me definitely is going to be something that
You
moves
prefer?
me. I prefer someone who is not afraid to communicate. And not that
Okay.
others aren't, but are afraid. Other men are afraid to communicate. I don't know if that's something
I
that's
don't know that men
always.
are afraid to communicate. I
No.
want to. I gotta stand up for guys in that. That's a bad rap. Men communicate all the time. All the time. You might not like what we're saying, but we're always communicating. Nonverbal communication is 80% of communication. We're
I don't
always communicating.
understand nonverbal because nonverbal means I don't know sign language. So what do you mean by that?
So so if you say something and I say,
understand.
I have just communicated something to you.
But what? Because there hence is the problem. I have to determine what me. I'm mad. I'm happy. That is not really an
So then
effective way
ask
of
me, hey,
communicating.
no, it's not your way of communicating.
I said effective.
No, and I know, and I said it's not your way because if a brother said in front of another brother, he knows exactly what that means. So it's effective. It's just not your way of being effective. And that's one of the things we have to learn. We've got to start celebrating the way the other party operates.
We don't have to celebrate it. We have to understand it. Because because you do it that way doesn't make it right.
So just because you do it with words doesn't make it right.
I agree.
Right. So but it makes it you. So I should be celebrating who you are.
I don't know. It's the way I communicate, but what to be celebrated is if I understand how you communicate and make an effort to have us understand each other. Celebrate that. But just me talking a lot isn't to be celebrated. It is.
So for me, I am celebrating the you that is you, and talking is a part of you. So if talking a lot is how you express you, I am not tolerating you. I'm not just going to accept you, but I'm going to celebrate that this is who she is. So when she starts talking, because I celebrate who you are, and that's the mentality that when you start talking, I'm fully tuned in because I'm enjoying you. I enjoy who you are, so I'm going to tune into you. If I'm tolerating you, I may or may not listen.
But what's the understanding? You can. I guess my idea of what celebration means versus understanding, to me, celebrating is just saying, yeah, you're like that. But that doesn't mean I understand what you're saying or doing.
So, you're
There's
like
no
that. And I need to
understanding
seek to understand what you're saying in every moment. Because you're
And to
like
me,
that.
that's to be
You're not going to
celebrated.
change that. But if I'm tolerating it, I'm eventually going to ask you to change it.
So what I'm I can understand that's the way he communicates. But if I still don't know what that gesture means, it hasn't helped us communicate any better. What I can understand and celebrate that that's how you communicate.
Okay.
But I still don't know what that meant.
Now then you can ask, hey, help me understand what you're feeling in this moment.
And then what if then she says, "Yo, I don't get why." It always seems to me in every conversation, women are supposed to learn how men think and make adjustments for them, and they can think the way they do. We always have to adjust so we can understand how you guys communicate, but it's never reciprocal to understand how we communicate.
I not a, that I completely disagree with that in every facet, in every walk of life, in every book, every television show. It is all designed to help men understand how women think and communicate. How words is your specialty. That's how you think. That's how you communicate. We're the ones who have been made and to adapt for centuries to how you think, how you communicate. It is masculinity and manhood that has been completely misunderstood. So it's 2020 and people still don't understand that men don't communicate. Men's primary mode of communication is nonverbal. Primary mode of communication is nonverbal. That does not mean we don't talk. That means that is not our primary mode of communication.
But where do you learn what the nonverbal things mean? I don't understand
So
how you can tell someone if you have a child that's not verbal and he's hungry, you have to teach him some way to communicate, whether you use a sign language and point to your mouth. We don't understand your language. So
so
who teaches it?
so this comes with experience and tuning into the spirit of the man you're with. When you are in tune with the spirit of the man you're with, he can be hungry in another city and you'll know. He can be sad in another city and you'll know. When you tune into the spirit of the man you're with and not tune into the spirit of the man you want to be with, there is a huge difference. And I'm going to flip this for men towards women as well, but there's a huge difference. So a lot of the times you're tuning into the man you want or the man you created in your head and not the man you're actually with. This is why you hear people say he should communicate differently. He needs to do, he's supposed to do, he should do.
This isn't answering what I asked though.
Okay.
It's doing the exact opposite. Again,
How do we
telling
learn?
what the other way. When do men, or how is it said to men? Because you're telling me how that men are, we're not hearing how they're, how, what am I asking? Let me think of how to word this differently. Because I'm not, the answer is still being said as a men are nonverbal, but and we should understand that. We should understand that they aren't verbal and be able to communicate and understand our man. But how is that you're saying men are taught that, but it doesn't, I don't right now we're not even saying it. How does a woman understand what women are trying to convey with their words? Because we're putting out words, but they're not really understanding our words or listening or the tune out. So how is it that yes, we communicate with extra words, but how to understand what we're trying to say?
this is where this is where first and foremost understanding the differences of both parties. Secondarily, being open to not just accepting or tolerating them, but celebrating the essence of who this person is created to be. Then I am now open to hearing, to receiving in your style of communication. And you are open to receiving in my style of communication. But most of us don't go to the table open to receiving in the other party's style of communication. We're more so looking to be understood and not to understand. So what that does is when I know that I'm seeking to understand your style of communication as your man, I'm going to speak more simply because I am now open. I am now tuned into your frequency. Your frequency is verbal communication. So I am going to make a conscious effort to verbally communicate with you because I know that is your modal. That's the frequency you're on.
Okay, that's what I was asking. I and that's the
But I
question, or from the angle I
recognize,
was
though,
in.
it is a conscious effort. It is not necessarily my default method. The same way you would have to make a conscious effort to hear what I'm not saying.
And use less words.
And that's not your default method. You see what I'm saying? And so what both people, but to me, I'm on a crusade to get people to see there is a difference. And it is only after you understand the difference, then we make the conscious efforts to bridge the divide in the
There
differences.
is a difference in what exactly?
There is a difference in the way we were both created to communicate.
And I think that's very, very, very helpful. That if you understand the differences, you won't take the silence as anger or meaning more than what it means if you learn what his nonverbal communication
He
means.
was created that way. Any man that spends a lot of time talking to his women know this. He is making a conscious effort to do that. He is not on default mode.
He's
Period.
making a conscious effort to talk
To talk.
more
Yes.
if it's about something they're not interested in.
Even if
Just
we're
to-
interested in it. It's a conscious effort to communicate in your form of communication. Because when we get with the fellas, we can literally start screaming, grunt. You should watch my sons communicate. You will think it's hilarious. My daughter has watched them communicate, and now it helps her understand men differently. My sons will have a whole conversation just like this. And they know what each other is saying. I've watched it happen, and it is the funniest thing to watch. But they literally know what the other person is talking about. Because I will ask, okay, explain to me what he just said. He was like, and he will tell you what his younger brother said. And I say, okay, younger brother, tell me what your older brother said. And they will be right. No words whatsoever, just noises.
So how do women learn that language?
I don't know that you can.
Wait.
I don't know that you
Excuse me.
can.
What's the book for learning that language?
I think what the brothers were noticing is body language, spirit, and what was happening in the moment.
That makes sense. So Alyssa says, women and men try to create the person they want instead of accepting the person they have, always trying to change who they are. We of habit, hard to change a man, woman who is that is a certain way to align with the person we create in our minds. It's hard to create that person that we create in our minds. And that I think leads back to the topic of picky or preference, turn on or turn off. Do some these preferences of what we have in our mind, the preferences that we have of the perfect person, is it okay to have some of these preferences actually not serving us?
I don't know. I would say if you are what you prefer, then it's not picky. It's a preference. But many of us prefer what we are not.
We prefer what we're not. Oh, explain that one. We prefer what we're not.
I'll give you an example. And see, I'm gonna say it from the man's point of view because I don't want it to feel like I've been on the ladies all day today. Some men say I want her to be, she got to be 5'4", so five. I'm just making up numbers. She got to be 5'7". She got to have a body like a model. She got to be this, and you look like Biggie Smalls. I'm just saying, if you prefer what you're not, then that's unrealistic. So if you prefer who you are, she's got to be intelligent, and you ain't read a book since grammar school. She's got to know. She's got to. If you prefer who, you must prefer who you are, because that's who you're gonna attract.
You must prefer
Who you are.
that's that. A lot of people don't prefer who they are.
Then what they're really saying is they don't like themselves.
But what if they get who they prefer? You're not there, but you actually do wind up getting the people who are not like you are. You actually still get them.
Well, that's who you are.
Then it's actually who you
That's who
are.
you are. Yeah, you attract who
So
you
it,
are.
it doesn't. It's not necessarily a physical thing. It's,
No, no, it's not. And much of the time, especially if you have a greater calling, you might attract somebody who is physically meets your criteria, but is about to kick your spiritual tail, to whip you it to reroute you towards what you were called to do. Darius said he was just talking about this a week ago. Everybody has a preference in who they want, but we can be picky with that, with what we're asking for. I don't know if it's picky, unless because if you are what you're asking for, then you're not then it's not picky.
if you are,
If you are who you're asking for, then it's not picky. It's you prefer yourself. But if you're asking for or looking for that which you are not, that's the only time I would call it picky.
interesting, interesting. If you, but if you say it again,
If you
you're,
are asking for that which you are not, then that's picky.
but it's not wrong with being picky, right?
You might be unrealistic.
Pickiness could be unrealistic. That's
Yes.
funny.
Because if you
That's true.
it's like saying I want a Bentley. You know what I'm saying? I want a Bentley. That's the car I want to drive. That's the car I'm going to drive. So when I go to the car lot, I'm looking for a Bentley. And I don't have Bentley funds. Yeah, you can want it all day long. But you are not a qualified Bentley driver.
If you don't have the funds, you cannot afford what you're
What you can't afford your preference. So the question I have is, can you afford your preference?
interesting. Interesting. Can you afford your preferences?
Are you your preference?
So if you want an educated person, are you educated?
Are you educated?
What if it has to do with looks?
Do you look in the same category that you're looking for?
You don't have to, right?
Oh, you do. And so men think that their money will put them in the category
Yes, I do think
that they're
they
looking
think that
for.
you
She
could.
said,
But
Alyssa
it
said, just
does.
buy a Nissan and call it a day.
I think money. I do think money trumps. For some women, you don't have to look like your preference. If money will buy that,
Money makes you more attractive?
yes.
In a transactional world, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
That you can get past that with some women. Men, can you? Can you if you don't? Well, men don't care about money as how much money she has
Now, let me ask you
as
this
much as
question.
women do.
Is it the money or is it the confidence that he is now displaying because he has the money? Because I do know
Ooh,
women are attracted to confidence.
that's true. That probably is the bigger thing because I think women are attracted to confidence no matter how you look. No matter what you have, that confidence. And I do believe when they say, I agree with that. I think when they say, oh, women like the bad boys, I don't think they actually like bad boys. They like the confidence bad boys usually have.
Usually have.
They like that bad boys tend to not care what other people think. They beat by their own drum. They flow with a different masculine kind of energy. And I think that's what they're attracted to, not so much that they're bad as that they display a confidence about themselves
Almost an arrogance.
and
That they don't
arrogance.
care.
That they don't care and they're
And they
attracted
genuinely
to that.
don't care.
And that's attractive to women, that confidence. I agree that I think if we went with that the money gives, absolutely, you'll see a guy walk and talk totally different who has money and
When he
is
got
dressed
bread.
and
Yeah.
it,
Absolutely.
it adds to it. Not that is he's not actually probably more genuinely confident, but it would appear that way.
Oh, he's confident. He's genuinely confident. When you walking in the room and you
Just
know
because
you
you have
got
money,
yes, and you know you ain't worth anything you want to get, do you have access to it because money buys you access. Money gives you freedom that poverty does not. And so you can genuinely be free when you have the funds to do so.
I don't think you are genuinely confident in your own being if money is making you confident. I think as soon as you lose money, you won't feel that same confidence. So if you were really confident being the broke person, if you were truly confident and it's not tied to money, then I don't believe you're actually confident.
So I'm not talking about little money. I'm talking about real money now. I have friends who are millionaires and about four of them who are billionaires. You ask any one of them, they said, if I lost all of my money today, give me a year and I'll have it back. That's a different mindset. All
Is
of
that
them.
a confident mindset?
That's a confident mindset because they feel like whatever they know that they have a formula to getting money and they believe the getting of the money is now in their DNA. So they walk with a completely different air. And it's not here's what
Well,
I've
let's
learned
bring
about
it
them.
down to the normal kind of money we talking. We're not talking like
So
money, like having money on a
what I mean by having
average.
money being confident is having the freedom to know that you whatever you want to do, you can do it.
And that gives confidence.
That is
And
gives
even if
a
they
yeah
lost it, would they have that? You feel they would have that same
to
confidence
get it back. Yeah.
to get it back.
Because I am a producer. And so, and I have a certain value, and the value isn't going anywhere.
So, what if you think someone like Donald Trump would have the same confidence if he lost out? If you came into the money, if you didn't earn it, I could see someone earning it thinking I could earn it again. But
If Donald Trump went broke, which he has been broke before,
he probably broke now, actually.
he has been broke before. When you file bankruptcy 7 times, you know how the game works. You know the system. You see what I'm saying?
So
So
that
if
he
you've
would
been,
still
it's
have
like,
that
yeah, I know
same
what to
level
do.
of
Yeah.
confidence.
So here's the thing I need our group to understand. You almost have to be, especially as a black man in today's society, you almost have to be cocky to really play the game that's being played and win. You gotta be borderline. You gotta have a mamba mentality, black mamba mentality. You gotta know what you know and cannot be swayed or moved because everything in media is designed to sway you and move you from who you are. Now, so the question is that does what it takes is what it takes to be a masculine man in today's society one big turn off or turn on?
Say that again.
Is what it takes to be a masculine man in today's society a natural turn on or turn off? Because like I said, you almost have to be confident to a level of cocky. People call Kobe Bryant cocky until he start winning.
I still think there's a difference between arrogance and confidence.
What's the difference?
The humility that's involved with you can be confident and don't need to put others down to bring yourself up type. I'm not
Is
the
that arrogance? Putting others down?
some people. It seems like some people that are arrogant. Let me think of the right words. I have to think of the right words to use because I believe there is absolutely a difference of confidence and arrogance, and maybe somebody who can help me with the one of the how you can tell the difference of someone who's because being confident in yourself, you can see that you could you just feel that about them, but the arrogance is bragging about it. I think I have to think of what I mean.
Alyssa said confidence should be who you are, not what you have. Status. Money is not top on my list. It doesn't buy love, health. It doesn't make you whole when your spirit is broken. People with a lot of money are some of the loneliest people out there. That is absolutely true. Alyssa said I could overlook his cockiness because he fine though. I think she's talking about Kobe.
uh, uh,
Yeah, she's talking about Kobe.
is he? That's is definitely a preference. That goes to show, like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Like,
It
everybody,
is,
someone
yeah.
can look at someone
And
else.
so is confidence and cocky.
That's
Cocky is in
true.
the eye of the beholder.
Yes.
Arrogance is in the eye of the beholder, not necessarily the person who you're calling arrogant. It's in the eye of the beholder.
I have a distinct thing that I know is different. I just can't think of the right words to
Oh,
describe
Janice
the
said
difference.
arrogance breeds superiority while
That's
confidence
it.
makes others comfortable. I
And
don't
he
know that.
people comfortable, but the superiority, when I say that they, is almost as if,
I don't
in
know
order
that I
to
agree with
make
that either.
themselves seem, they, a superiority over the people who don't think and act like me, confidence.
I'm gonna give you an example. All right, and I wish I had some people who play. When I played basketball, I was almost always considered cocky to the people who sucked. To the people who could hoop for real, they didn't see it as cocky at all. They saw it as competition, competitive.
But it's not always somebody you're in a competitive that you're, if you can see it in someone, you all don't have anything. It can be, you can see it in someone and you don't have anything you're trying to compare yourself to with them.
Give me an example. What do you mean? I'm not sure
I
I
mean, if
understand.
I looked at a guy and called him cocky, I don't play basketball and I still could think you cocky. I mean,
That
I'm not putting myself in the game or
so
comparing.
that might be. So here's what I look at confidence. Confidence is how you see yourself. The story you tell you about you determines your level of confidence.
So it's the people that are telling me that story over and over again.
So
Maybe that's it.
so the people who might determine that as arrogance may not necessarily tell themselves the same story about themselves. I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. I don't have an example.
It don't have to be about you. It could be
Confidence
somebody else.
Darius said, confidence is when you are sure in who you and what you are, say and do. Cocky is when you put others down, acting more superior
I
than
do believe
others.
it's the superior, the
Alyssa said on an athletic platform is different.
athletic confidence is different. What do you mean?
Help us understand, Alyssa. What do you mean by
Like
that?
in the game, that confidence is different than people on the street. What on an athletic platform is different. Interesting. Confidence is when you're sure in what you say and do. You guys, I do want, Janice, I see you there, so I got to give you a quick shout out. Today, Janice is going to have a really interesting show at 6 o'clock here on IntellectualRadio.com. So I would love for guys to tune in to Voices of Change at 6. I'm just gonna tease it. I'm not even gonna say what it's gonna be about, but it's gonna be a good show. So yeah, I do not know why I can't think of the right words to say. You know what? I'm here with beautiful Google. I'm gonna Google this real quick and see what how you determine, because what is, if you're saying there's no such thing as arrogance?
I'm saying it depends. It's in the eye of the beholder.
Of somebody being arrogant.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
in the
okay,
eye
I
of
can
the
see that.
beholder,
Okay.
not the beholden, the beholder.
Oh, okay.
So just like beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I would say Dennis Rodman is not the most attractive, but money kind of gives. Some people, it could give a swagger, and someone can say no. I absolutely don't agree with that. And yes, I do agree that it's in the eye of, but the same definition is the same. Who you would choose to be, Eric? Who you would choose to? I gotta see, what is the difference. What is the definition difference? What is the difference?
Alyssa said, I mean, cocky overconfidence as a whole. You can be cocky in your field, but different as a person. Yeah.
Can you be cocky in a game, but you're actually not a confident? You can be confident when it comes to basketball and your skills and that. Because I can say that that's a big thing for me. A big thing I have is to be very confident in some of the things I say and do if I know I do them well. I mean, I can actually say that's my thing. I mean, that's what I do, but not be confident when it comes to something else.
See, now when you are assured of what you say, do, and know, and you begin to communicate your surety of what you say, do, and know, is that ever cocky or
Or
to
it's
the
never
person
arrogant or
to the person who might be listening who is not sure in the things that they're say do in that area might find it as arrogant or cocky.
but I wouldn't tell people though. I'm not going to say, "Oh, I'm good at." I'm not going to voice. I just gonna do it and tell people.
Now that is that
And I think it's the always telling us how good you are that adds a level of arrogance. Is about intent. It's when ability or perceived ability is used to look down on others. Is the definition of arrogance, and I
so
think it's that superiority over you because
so let me ask you this question. Was Muhammad Ali arrogant?
I don't know. I don't know much about. I mean, I don't. I can't say. I think he was confident.
Really? I shook up the world. I'm a bad man. Can't nobody beat me.
He,
He was
uh,
telling the truth.
so I think that's what makes it
I mean,
confident.
he was
It's
telling
not
he
is the
was,
truth.
he was telling the truth.
So it says talks confident versus arrogant. Talks to powerful people. Confident talks to powerful people because he doesn't doubt the value of his ideas. Arrogant talks to powerful people because he wants to be seen as one.
I don't know that I agree with that definition, but
Admits
okay.
confident admits ignorance because he doesn't doubt his intellect. Arrogant shows he is right because being wrong hurts his credibility. It says confident approaches strangers because he doesn't doubt the value of his company and conversation. Arrogance works through his networks because he already knows they accept him. I don't know what that means exactly. A confident acts like a fool when he feels like it because he doesn't doubt his worth. Acts like a fool.
Yeah, you
The
can,
arrogant acts like he is confident all the time because otherwise people might stop
I get that.
taking him seriously.
Yeah. So the difference, what I'm hearing them say, and I actually agree with, the difference is confidence is confidence is literally who you are. It
It
is
speaks for itself
it's the spirit and energy that you operate at. Arrogance is who you're trying to be.
and it requires advertising
Right.
to if I have to continue telling you're trying to convince yourself. To me, if you have to keep telling me that I'm good and I'm good and I'm good, who are you trying to uh, sometimes people that are super smart do this or tend to
See,
say it over and over again. If you're smart, we just know. Why do you have to tell me this repeatedly?
but see, the only person who might feel that way is the person who don't feel that they as smart. Like if you're smart and I'm smart, I don't care what you say.
I don't. That doesn't
They don't
mean that
bother
you're
me at
not
all.
arrogant, though. It's not bothering me.
That don't mean you're not. That
I
don't
mean,
mean you
whether
ain't arrogant.
just because it affects someone else doesn't make you not be arrogant.
Okay. Alyssa, you said yes, James. Yes, James to what? Which one? Because I gotta ask, was Muhammad Ali arrogant?
Oh, maybe she's saying yes. When
I
I
don't
know what I'm
know.
talking about, I'm definitely more confident, and I'm definitely more confident and that's why when I don't feel I know enough about something, I'm gonna go learn so I can have that confidence. But I don't need to tell everybody I just went to school, so I know this. I know. I don't need to say it. And I'm not meaning me, but I do believe you don't need to always advertise it if you're truly confident in it. It's your it'll show. It just appears
See
it is.
that I used to believe that confidence doesn't advertise. Sometimes it does. And the example I'm having is, was Muhammad Ali confident or not? Was Mike Tyson confident? Was Kobe confident? Was Michael Jordan confident? There was
Sports is different because
is it?
like Alyssa said, I in order to beat you, I need to it's part of the game. In order to be able to beat you, I need to make you know that I can hurt you. That's part of strategy.
But aren't we playing the game of life like that? Depending upon the room you walk in, don't you have
I'm
to
not in a
have
fight with you.
depending
I'm not
upon
in
the
the game
room
with
you walk
everybody.
in, don't you have to have a certain air of confidence?
I guess if you do, if you lack confidence. I mean, I don't. I think that's part of a strategy in a game that I need to.
True. Okay.
I need to box you. I need you to know that I'm
I'm
not
playing
afraid.
mental warfare.
I'm playing right in a game. If we use sports and that, but okay, let's say it's the game of life. Then are you really trying to beat me all the time? And that's exactly how it feels. It feels like you're trying to one up me and beat me with this constant. So I do feel it is the same in some that sometimes you're meant is doing it to make me it's doing it on purpose to try to invoke. Your intent is to invoke a feeling of you're not as smart as me.
For
You're
some
not as
people, they are. It for some it is.
and so that to me is arrogance. Now, if it invokes it and I'm not doing it or trying to make it happen, it's the intention. If I'm not trying to make it happen and you feel small because I come in here and I'm like revving up the party and that make you feel like Jose thanks your ass, that's on you
So
because I come in here making the party happen.
see, but is that arrogance?
It's the intent. I'm not coming in here trying to make you feel a certain. I'm not saying anything or doing this just for your benefit. It's who I am.
It's who I am. Did you just do jazz hands?
Jazz hands. It's who I
It's
am.
who you are.
But if
Okay.
I come in here saying, "Hey,"
Mm.
it's not for you. My intention is being all me all the time.
And is it so?
I
Okay.
think
So
there's a
Alyssa said
difference.
he
Intention.
is he. Alyssa said he was one of the greatest fighters of all time. He was confident in the ring.
He was confident outside
But
of the
but
ring
see
too.
here's see
I think.
in hindsight we're saying he was the greatest of all time. He was saying he was the greatest of all times long before we knew that.
But he was convincing himself of that. A part of why people advertise it is to believe it. In order for me to really believe it, I need to keep telling people that because I need to go in the ring and kill you. So I need to continuously convince myself. And I do think a lot of times it's not just for us, it's for themselves to believe. The people
Sometimes
that advertise it are sometimes trying to make themselves believe
that
it.
that is extremely true. Here's something that I think is important for us to note. So we serve a God who today's time people will call arrogant. When Jesus Christ said, "I am the Son of God," people called him arrogant. That's the reason they wanted to kill him. Who does he think? Who does he think he is what they said. And then the Father in the Old Testament would say, "I am that I am." And then he created us to be just like him. So to me, some of us exude confidence, and others might perceive that as arrogance. Then you have a subset of people who don't actually believe what they're saying, and I don't call them arrogant or cocky. I call them insecure.
But it comes off as being, it can come off to others who don't know that that's insecurity as arrogance. Because how do I know you don't believe it? I mean,
yeah, I agree. Because those that do believe it know you don't believe it. Because we know what people who walk like, look like, talk like who do believe that. When you've been in the arena with people who do this thing, they don't say, like, for example, Mike Tyson. I'm gonna use the sports again. Mike Tyson knew what killers look like. Because when you grew up on the street with killers, you can look across the ring and see that ain't no killer. You said that ain't no. He looking at me, but he gonna look away in a second. That's not a real killer. I am. I've been in. I grew up on the street where I had to hurt people with my bare hands. That's not. He's a boxer. I'm a killer. You see what I'm saying? There is a difference, and sometimes we just don't know the experience of the person exuding what we might call arrogance.
And honestly, like you say, do we really know Muhammad Ali? I mean, we know what he advertised. Do we really know he didn't go home at night and
be afraid? He was. He said it. He was terrified.
So, I mean, it may come off as arrogance, but what is it really? I'd have to think.
Darius said he was both confident and cocky.
Yes, confidence. Yeah, he definitely.
So maybe can we say this? You are cocky until you prove it. Maybe you might be over because Muhammad Ali was not the greatest of all times until after he was the greatest of all times.
And you saying it, we would definitely believe it. I don't. Yeah. Do you have to prove it? I don't know.
People were saying, "Who does he think he is?" You know how many people said that? A lot of people watched his fights to see him lose.
But and I do believe people that are arrogant, people do, and it may say stuff about them as well. But you do people who come off as arrogant, you do want to see them
Lose.
come down a notch,
You
like
do.
put them on their if they and the way you
That's
make
why
it sound
people
is
like
there's
Kobe
no
is
such
hated.
thing as being arrogant. It sounds like you don't believe that there
Oh,
is
I
a
do.
such
I do.
thing.
But I'm fighting against the insecure people who think anybody who is confident is arrogant. So I'm trying to weed that out first, because a lot of people call people arrogant who are not arrogant. They're a regular level of confidence, but they're overconfident in the room for the room that they're in. But in a different room, they're not nearly as, what they're saying would not be perceived as confidence.
Yes, but we're not talking about those people, because if you're in the room with them, then if you're in a room with people who don't see you as
I'll give you an example. Super producer Earl might say in a bunch of his friends, you know what, y'all? One day I'm gonna buy a block. I'm gonna buy a city block to put a radio show or to put a radio station in.
I think he would be seen as arrogant to some of his
To
friends.
some of his friends. But if he came in some of the different circles and said, you know, guys, I want to buy a city block to put a radio show in there, and they'd be like, oh man.
But they also know he'll do it. I think the other friends know he's absolutely capable of it, and he'll do it. If he says it, he's going to do it.
You see it, but again, so that's why I initially stated it's in the eyes of the beholder.
True. So this says confidence applies personal criteria for goals and success. Arrogance seeks validation from other people. And so I do think that has some that
I agree with that. Seeks validation.
So that you agree that I have it. I don't think what made Muhammad Ali different is he didn't care whether you believed it or not. He didn't care whether you thought, I think I'm the greatest of all times. I think a lot of confident people, that is the one big difference, is they don't care whether you believe it or not. They're not trying to convince you. They believe it wholeheartedly. And so it's so, period. And I think that is a big thing, is that that validation of you seeing them as being something. So another one says confidence tries to add value irrespective of hierarchy. I don't know if I brags about achievements and ability is the arrogance. That's status. Awareness. It says the confident person with awareness is keen to learn new skills and fill knowledgeable gaps. And the arrogant one hates being wrong, neglects empathy, and compromise.
I would agree with that. I agree with that. So now so I don't want to come off as though I don't believe anything is arrogant or anything is cocky. I do believe I agree with a lot of the definitions that are being said. I just want to make sure that I do state that thing. So Brina said you have to be humble as well. I think humility is again in the eyes of the beholder. I have a buddy of mine who said, I want to start a business. And he said this 15 or so years ago. I need to start a business so I can help poor people. And when he said it, they were like, wait, what? And he launched a hedge fund. The hedge fund is now worth $20 or so billion. And he gives back to poor people in droves. But if you didn't know him, you would think he was super cocky. But to those who know him, he's extremely humble. He's extremely caring. He's extremely giving, but don't waste his time.
But I think you can be both, because of the eye beholder, because of who it is. That if you know someone, and you brought up the super producer here, so I think that to me that's a very good an example of someone that you could see someone saying, oh, he's this, that, but if you really knew him, that coming off on the outside, but on the is, you know, that he's
right
different. So I
to
could
me, it's
see
in
that.
the eyes of the beholder. So is he?
But he is cocky though.
Is he cocky, or are you perceiving it as cocky?
I think some people would perceive it as that if they don't really know him.
But does that make, because they perceive it, does that make it is? Does that mean that it is, or it is just your perception?
I don't know. Since it's not his intent, I would say it isn't.
But you only know it's not his intent because you know him.
That's my point. So to other people, it would come off as being cocky, but he's confident.
But those people, I would say those people are wrong. those people might say, they might fight you tooth and nail and say they're right. And that's why I say arrogance,
Are they
cocky,
wrong?
humility, meekness are all in the eyes of the beholder.
Right, because are they ever going to see that side of some people may never see that side of you. So they're always going to think that way.
And
But the
that's
confident
okay.
person doesn't care.
Does not care.
And that's I think is they don't care what you think. 'Cause
And
you're gonna
neither
be
does the
same
cocky
me.
person. The cocky person don't care either.
They don't care either. But the arrogant person cares. And I think that's the difference. I think the arrogant person cares what you think about me. I want you to think I have it all. I want you to think that I'm this and I'm that. They care about what you think about them more.
Mm.
And that would be the difference of confidence. Cocky. Oh, it's cocky. What is cocky? Maybe I don't even know what that means.
Cocky
Is that
the
a
same
negative?
it's like being overconfident to the point of bragging.
Oh no, okay, he's not cocky. So, but I do think that that could be seen. Arrogance and cocky are the same things.
I don't know.
we're
I
all
don't know.
we are running out of time. Tell people
so
how
ladies,
they
you
can
don't
talk
like
to you. We don't like
you don't like cocky or
we like
arrogant?
confidence, but not arrogant. We love confidence. Love confidence.
Okay.
I think confidence is a masculine trait. No,
Cocky is a masculine trait.
is it?
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go.
To go and subdue. So here's the definition of cocky is basically thinking of yourself higher than you really are.
Oh,
To go into the
so that's arrogance too.
But in order to do some of the things men are created to do, you have to think of yourself as a little bit more than you are. So to go in, if a snake is in the house, and I got to come get this doggone snake out of the house for us.
We are running out of time. So I'm going this one definition that says there's a difference between confidence and cockiness. Many people are afraid that if they embrace their confidence that they will come off as cocky. That's just not true. Confidence comes from believing in yourself and having the skills to back it up. And cockiness, on the other hand, is bragging or showing off without actually having the skills and know how to back it up.
See, I don't agree with that at all.
Don't agree with that.
I don't agree because confidence might not necessarily be in your ability, but it might be in the ability God has given you within you. So you may not have the skill set to do what you're set out to do, but you have the confidence that
to believe that
you can do it because greater is He that's in you than he that is in the world.
Interesting. So we're running out of time. Tell them how they can reach you if they would like the skills of and I have total confidence in him. So I'm going and he may be a little he's not arrogant about it though. You're humble too.
Yeah, to those who know me, I will come off as they know I'm humble. To those who might not
think you're arrogant, but he's good at what he does. He believes in what he does. I don't know if that's a good. You should believe in what you do. We don't know. So tell him how to reach you, you cocky man. You
Coach,
he's not cocky.
Coach James Borshade on Instagram. J Borshade, BORISHADE at Facebook, and then you can reach me at circleurban.org. The phone number is 708-462-2280. That's my personal business line. Our circle number is 773-921-1446.
I love it. So you guys, what I would love for you to do is stay tuned to Intellectual Radio because besides me, we have fabulous programming here. So Overcoming Obstacles is up next with Jada Tennille James. And then after that, we have Voices of Change. And I told you she has a surprise. She's at 6. At 7, we have tell me, Earl, super producer, help me out. 7 o'clock is the Lori Lightfoot report card, another perspective. At 8 o'clock, we have Size, Streets, and Intersections. 2 funny ladies, the mother and daughter team. So you got to check them out. We really have great programming here. But what I'm going to really ask you to do is keep tuning into He Said, She Said. I'm here every Sunday, 2 p.m. here on the beautiful, where we feed your brain, IntellectualRadio.com. I'll see you next week.
Oh, she's the real deal, keeping it real for real. Real with Wanda be. Oh, all inclusion, no confusion. He said, she said, clearing up the drama.